Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I wanted to drop in and drop a video. I appreciate all the prayers that I've been receiving, my family's been receiving. It touches me that so many people are willing to take time out to pray for us. And I got an update on the situation. So this is a special occasion. It doesn't come along, but once in a lifetime. So I'm breaking out a special box of cigars. This is a box I've been holding on for some time. These are the selection Petite Robustos Habanos Cubans. So I have a few boxes of these, and I've been just kind of sitting on them, waiting on a moment when I felt like it was a moment to smoke something that I really like. So I'm gonna pull one of these out and I'm gonna tell you a little story. I'll grab out this Partagas right here. Got a little plume on it. So I was at work earlier today. Excuse me. I was at work earlier today and I got the dreaded phone call. It was just a day or so ago that I was asking the community for prayers. And I appreciate those that prayed. Our prayers were answered. My mother was called home to be with the Lord this morning. So no more suffering, no more battling. Her fight is over. I'm fortunate. I've had the opportunity to have two moms. I have my biological mother who passed away some time ago. And then I have my stepmother who just passed away today. But she was, while not my biological mom, she was every bit my mother. And so her loss is no more or no less impactful than the loss of my biological. I mean, I've known her pretty much my entire life. As I explained before, my parents divorced when I was a little kid. And my father married her then, and I basically went through elementary, middle, high school, college, graduate school, my life with her. And so now she's gone. When I would call home, I would usually end up speaking to her, and she would go on and she would give me the rundown of everything that was going on, the rundown of who did what to who, and all that good stuff. You know, my dad would get on the phone for a bit, and but I was mostly having conversations with her. Sometimes she would kind of tease him because, you know, I would call home and then she would kind of hog the, not in a bad way, but kind of hog the call. And then she would say, look at him, he's sitting over here. He'd get mad because I've been on the phone with you too long. And that kind of tickled me from, you know, when that would happen. They were kind of funny together, you know. Today when my father called and let me know that she passed, I could hear it in his voice, fighting back the emotion. You know, because my father, he has this thing, he doesn't want to look weak at all. He's one of these guys, he can't cry, he can't show weakness, at least not openly to people. You know, and he's there surrounded by the kids, my sisters, and my aunt. I'm not sure who else was there. I think maybe one of my uncles was there at the hospital. But he's trying to stand strong. And so I talked to him and I said, hey man, we're all sad she's gone. But I can't have you giving up. And of course, my father is my father, and he's gonna say the manly thing. And he's like, you know, what you talking about? You know I ain't giving up on nothing. I ain't going nowhere. And I said, I know, I understand, man. But I just wanna, you know, I recognize this was the love of your life. This is the woman you spent, you know, more than 45 years with this woman. I mean, that's a big deal. And I don't want you to feel like that loss is a reason for you to stop pushing. And he told me he wasn't. He's still gonna fight. He just, you know, gotta get through this moment. And I can respect that. But I know day to day, you know, we're not young anymore. It's not like you got a whole lot of life to look forward to and you give yourself purpose and you keep fighting. He's already up there in age, and you know, the purpose he had in his life, he's got to find a new one. Some of you guys may have that experience. The purpose you had may change. It may no longer be, you know, what it was. And in his case, his purpose was pretty much day to day was taking care of my mother. And they took care of each other, as I said before. But now with her gone, he's got to find direction for himself. What's he going to do? And that's the thing I fear, is he doesn't find that direction and he gets lost. My father has been an alcoholic. Well, I guess he is an alcoholic, because once an addict, always an addict. So he's an alcoholic. And one of the things he mentioned to me was, all right, was that he was going to get a drink. I said, okay, Daddy. I'll talk to you later. Let me get out of here, get out of work, and then I'll hit you up. But I don't want that becomes his purpose. I don't want that his life becomes just about that. So I still need prayer. I appreciate all the prayers that came. I appreciate the prayers that were received. God answered them. It was his will that was done. And that's all I can ask for. When we pray, we ask for God's will to be done. We could be a little selfish in there and say we want specific things, kind of try to point him in a particular direction. But ultimately what we want is that our will be his will and his will be done. And so all I wanted was his will to be done in this situation, that my mother no longer be experiencing the pain and the discomfort that she's been feeling. It's crazy how suddenly this came on, It seems like it just kind of popped up out of nowhere, but I know it doesn't. I know these things don't just happen overnight, right? She wasn't going to the doctor and dealing with everything as she should have. And so when you finally get forced into a position to have to deal with it, maybe it's a little past the time you should have dealt with it. And you end up having to suffer more than you would have otherwise. I don't know. I mean, that's pure speculation, right? I don't know if this cancer, how rapidly it worked to destroy her body. I don't know if there was something that could have been done to any of the cancers if she'd have caught it very early. And when was very early? I don't know. A year ago, 2 years ago. But it just reminds me too, again, of the need for us to take care of ourselves. The need to pay attention to our health. One of the things I remember about her, it was kind of funny, like when we were kids, because there were 6 of us, and we didn't have a lot of money in the house. My dad, he's a blue collar kind of guy, so he would eat whatever the kids ate. Whatever we ate, he ate. But my mom would go buy herself, Church's chicken or McDonald's, or, she would eat other food. She wouldn't eat what we were eating, and what we were eating was typically pinto beans with some ham hocks in there, maybe some cornbread. Sometimes we didn't even have cornbread. We just used the Wonder Bread, eat that with it. We'd have bologna, or she'd buy a bunch of potatoes. And usually the food she would make for us, she'd make a giant pot of beans on Sunday, and we'd eat them Monday through Friday. And then on Friday, my dad would come home and they run off to the meat market, and it's like a treat for us. They go buy a big giant pack of hot dogs, these big boxes they used to come in, 10-pound box of hot dogs or whatever, and throw them all in this giant kettle and boil them. And we would have like a hot dog party. We'd just be eating hot dogs all night long. On white bread, because we were too poor to buy buns. Buns were a waste of time. We would just get sliced bread, typically Wonder Bread, or I think it was called Pennington. I don't think they sell Pennington out here. That might be just a Midwest thing. It was in like an orange bag. Penningtons or Wonder Bread. And we'd have that with hot dogs. That would be our Friday treat. Dad would give us all $1, and we run down to the carry-out. Out here in Cali, they call it liquor stores. We run down to the carry-out and buy a pop and a bunch of penny candy or pop and chips and whatever, some combination of that stuff, you know. But she would tell us, you shouldn't be eating those chips, and you shouldn't be drinking that soda with those chips, because that's going to mess up your kidneys. And that was wisdom, because she would do it and it ended up messing up her kidneys. So she didn't take care of herself as well as she took care of us in that regard. But that's one of the stories that when we all get together, we all poke at that and make fun of that stuff. Make fun of that. She used to have a drawer of candy next to the bed. Like, she roll out the drawer. We all know when she wasn't there, my oldest sister, Margaret, we call her Granny, she would go in there when nobody was around and sneak candy out of the drawer, sneak out. She would have, Hostess cakes in there, Twinkies or Ho-Hos, I think were her thing. The Ho-Hos and the Ding Dongs. She'd go in there and sneak some of that out, sneak out some of her candy. Of course, if she found out it was missing, we all got the blame. So it was then an investigation into who did it. Granny would steal her pop. Granny was the rebel of the family. She would take her pop, and it was just, I don't know, all that stuff was funny. Now I think about it, as a kid, we would be mad. We'd be like, why we gotta eat beans? You need to eat the chicken. But, I like beans, honestly, but it was just at that time, you're a kid, whatever. You got your little rebellious stage and angry at whatever you think the world is unfair to you. But, all that's gone now. All of it's just memories. Yeah. I remember they used to party. I got most of my taste in music from her. Man, she had a huge album collection when we were kids. And I don't know if you guys grew up in the Midwest. I don't know out here if it was a thing or not, but there were these Curtis Mathes televisions, right? Curtis Mathes was the elite TV entertainment center kind of thing, right? If you had a Curtis Mathes, that was like status. So we had this Curtis Mathes television. It was big screen TV. Big screen back then was probably, 27, 30 inches, but it was the tube television. And then beside it, it had two big speakers built in. It was like a whole cabinet. Two speakers, you lift up the top, and the top had a record player in it, and you could spin 33, 45, 78s on the record player. I know people that are young don't know what any of that is, but there used to be 45s, which were the small discs, vinyl discs with a big hole in it. You had to put the I don't know what they call it, the spinner in there, and then you put it on the stick. Or you had the 78s and the 33s. 33s was the normal album. 78 was more older style. And you put those discs on there, and then you put the needle on it. If you know DJing, you put the needle on, and it would play the music, and it had like an AM FM radio. It had an 8-track in it, And I remember, man, she would be playing the tunes, Patrice Rushen. Oh man, she would be playing Shaka, oh man. And when Luther hit the scene, man, she played Luther to death. Luther, Jeffrey Osborne, Billy Ocean, who else was she play? Shalimar. I have all those on my best of playlists. So when I ride around places, man, I fire that music up, and it makes me go back to thinking about her. Jamaica Funk, man. And those nights, like Friday nights at my pad, My parents would be partying, the friends and my family, my uncles and aunts would come over and they'd be doing their thing, and the kids be just running around crazy because we'd be hyped up on all the sugar because like I said, my dad would give us that $1 and we go buy a bunch of candy and then we just sit there eating candy. So we'd be fired up. We'd be high as a kite on that sugar. And they'd be partying, having themselves a good time, dancing and everything. And man, those were some good times. Oh, I miss those times. She was a good woman. She was a good woman, but she'd tell you about yourself too. So you got to be careful with that part. But she was a good woman. I never had conflict with her, but my sisters would have conflict with her. And sometimes they'd have conflict with me because they would think she would treat me better sometimes. And I was the only boy growing up. And, but dang, she could cook. Oh my gosh, she could cook. Her specialty was this mac and cheese. Whenever I go home, I'm like, Mama, you got to make the mac and cheese. And she would make it. The last time I was home was 2 summers ago. And she made that mac and cheese. Oh man, it was so good. My little nephews and nieces was coming over there, bringing their Tupperware, man. Little crumb snatchers ate up all the food. She could throw down pork chops, chicken, mac and cheese, all that. She was like about that business, man. And everybody loved her food. Her greens. Bro, I sit here sometimes, I just try to get a hint of that. And Cali, you can't get that. Cali food sucks. Cali food is trash. I don't care what you say. There ain't no good soul food in California. I've been to a lot of places. I have yet to find anything remarkable that I'm willing to be like, stake my name on it. She'd be in the kitchen doing the greens and the mac and cheese. My dad be over there cleaning the chitlins. We knew we was eating good that day. Man, we were eating good that day. Then later on, they would get together. They'd go out to the cabarets. My dad he's a biker. Well, was a biker. He doesn't ride now. But back in those days, he was into the motorcycle scene. He was all about that. And so they would go out to one of the clubs, and the motorcycle scene back then, they would have cabarets at these clubhouses, music, live music, dancing and all that. So they would go out to that, and then they leave us, and usually they leave us to ourselves because there was 6 of us, or they would leave, one of my aunts or uncles who were basically our age too, to kind of be our watchers, but we just be crazy, acting up, fighting, running around the house, watching inappropriate television, seeing who could stay up late enough to get the nudies on Cinemax. Those were the days, man. But now the old gal is gone. I'm gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss the conversations. I'm kind of sad now because the last message she left me on my cell phone, I think I deleted it. Because you're not seeing them leaving you. You're not seeing them dying. And I think I deleted it. But now I'm thinking like, man, I wish I would have saved that so I could, just hear her voice from time to time. Hear that voice. Hello, son, is what she would say when we get on the phone. Hello, son, it's your mother. And, man, I'm gonna miss her. I remember when I was a kid, I I used to be like, I want a woman like that. She was like the prototype for the woman that I wanted for myself. She had that Coke shape. You know, she was put together pretty nicely when she was younger. And I remember growing up, I was like, that's what my wife's gonna look like. Well, that didn't happen, but you know, that's how much she, you know, was a part of my mind and my development. You know, it was like you wanted to model your wife after your mother, which a lot of people do. You know. Well, thank you for listening to me ramble on. And I'm trying to stay positive and think on the positive side of all of this. You know, losing someone that close to you is heavy. Some of you have been out there and you've experienced that. Losing a parent at any age is tough. I've lost 2 moms and I only have my father left. And I pray that I got many more years with him because I don't want to lose all of them. I was fortunate to grow up with all my grandparents and a couple of my great-grandparents. So I've had 3 of my great-grandparents during my life and all 4 of my grandparents. And now I'm down to just my father. You know, as you age, you lose that older generation. So please continue to pray for my family. I will be praying for all of you. I appreciate it. Remember, she's gone, but that's God's will. So we should rejoice that his will is done, no matter what. 'Cause that's what it's all about. That's why we serve him. I'm gonna finish enjoying this Petit Robusto, Artigas Petit Robusto, and float through the memories in my mind of my beautiful mother who's now gone and left us behind. You guys enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, be safe out there. If you're riding, keep them wheels rolling and keep that smoke blowing. Peace out.